Hello everyone, welcome back to another Daily Marvel Snap video. So I know that we are due for a Sulky Hulky video, we're due for a user suggested deck list video, but I do want to get this last card pull out of the way. And so today we're going to be pulling a mystery card and then drafting a deck around that mystery card. Only this time, there's not much mystery to it, right? It is the only card that we have left, the very last one in our collection, and that is Mystique. And so we unlocked 6 collector's reserves. We do have plenty of other credits to push further if we need to. Just honestly didn't think it would take all 6, but here we are. That is 6. Hold on one second. All right, so we did unlock just one more, and that is all we needed. We now have our completed collection. We have the ever elusive Mystique. Mystique, of course, on reveal, if the last card you played has an ongoing ability, this card gains it. Having this card enables so many combos. It is insane how many decks this card makes better. So off the top of my head, there is the Exodia combo, there is Mr. Negative decks, there is the Wong Mystique Spectrum combo. There are so many good utilizations for this card, and I'm so excited to build it. We finished our collection log at collection level 3,898. But keep in mind that we were really deep into the pool already when they updated the mystery cards into the collector's reserves. I've heard of people finishing the collection around level 3,000. So I would use that as your baseline if you're trying to figure out when you're going to complete your collection. I wouldn't use mine because I was already really deep into the collection log by the time they updated the collection track into reserves instead of flat mystery cards. And so with Mystique finally unlocked, we finally have her in our possession, we are going to go ahead and jump into a deck build, and I'm really excited for this one, guys. All right, so we did throw a deck list together, and this may be a little surprising for some people, because this is definitely not Mystique's strongest deck list, but I think it's going to be a fun deck list to run. So the idea behind this deck list is we mill the opponent's cards, and then we either cause them to discard them or destroy them with Gambit, leaving them with little to no resources, little to no power on the board. And so going through a rundown of the deck list really quickly, we have Mantis. Mantis is going to be one of the cards that enables us to steal the opponent's cards. If we play this, naturally it'll steal 1 after a Wong, 2 after a Wong and a Mystique, 4. We then have Quinjet. Quinjet has the ongoing ability cards that didn't start in your deck cost 1 less. So for games that we do get a good Mantis trigger, we get a good Cable trigger where we hit it 2 to 4 times. This is going to discount all of those cards so that we can play more resources naturally onto the board. We then have Yondu. Yondu is going to remove the top card from the opponent's deck. And so this goes along with our milling mechanic, except for the fact that Yondu will just destroy it instead of allowing us to draw it. It'll just be gone. Then we have Psylocke. Psylocke is going to allow us to ramp into Wong on turn 4, which really enables a really strong play. So if we ever have both Psylocke and Wong in our starting hand, it's an absolute snap. We have Cable. Cable is another way that we're going to steal the opponent's cards. When we drop Cable, it's going to put the bottom card of the opponent's deck into our hand. This is going to give us information on what the opponent plays, and it's going to be our biggest source, along with Mantis, for having a large power push if we need it. We have the brand new, amazing Mystique. Mystique on reveal, if the last card you played has an ongoing ability, this is going to gain it. So the main target with this in this deck list is Wong. So Wong has the ongoing ability that Mystique will trigger. It'll cause, instead of our on-reveal abilities happening twice, it will cause them to happen 4 times. And then we have Gambit. Gambit is going to be a way that we can remove some of the opponent's power from the board. So if they only drop a few really high power resources, so let's say they're ramping with Electro, Gambit is going to be able to trigger anywhere from 1 to 4 times and destroy a number of cards equal to however many times it triggered. So we could potentially take out 4 pretty large or impressive units from the board with our Gambit play. We have Moon Knight. Moon Knight is going to serve as a way to get the opponent to discard cards from their hand. We want this to hit some high power cards. We want this to hit like the Hellas, the Magnetos, the Infinauts, things that the opponent really would like in their hand to be able to push for a win. 1, it acts to demoralize them, and then 2, the more resources we can limit them from having, the better our chances of winning are going to be. We have have Wong. So Wong is like the high roll of this deck list. We ramp into Wong on 3. We drop Mystique plus either a Yondu or a Mantis on 4. If that triggers, that is 4 cards gone. We then have turns 5 and 6 to either force them to discard cards, to force them to have their cards destroyed, or to mill the rest of their cards with like Cable and Mantis. So some really high roll potential with our Wong plays. We have Magic. Magic is going to change a location to Limbo. The main reason behind Magic in this deck list is we are already limiting the number of plays that the opponent can do. If we can mill their entire deck and maybe we just need a turn to see what that last card that they had in hand was, we can drop Magic, and that's going to force them, they will play their card as normal, and then we can tell if we can come up over that power level or not. And then we have a card that we have never put in a deck in our lives. We have Black Bolt. Black Bolt, on reveal, your opponent must discard their lowest cost card in their hand. So this is going to pair pretty well with a Moon Knight. Moon Knight will force them to drop anywhere from 1 and 4 cards. Black Bolt will do the same. So we could potentially have them discard their entire hand between these 2 cards. And then lastly, we have Chavez. Chavez acts as a deck thinner. We're going to get our Wong more often. We're going to get Mystique more often in our discard cards. And it doesn't feel like there's just another great fit for this deck list. It just feels like it adds value. All of the other alternatives, as far as like deck thinners or something similar, feels like it takes away more than it adds. And so therefore, America Chavez fits into our deck list perfectly. But that is the rundown of the deck list. We are going to go ahead and jump into the pillage and plunder of our deck builds. I hope you guys enjoy. All right, so with the first pillage and plunder game, we have the pillage and plunder patch. So for those of you that are new to the channel, or are a little bit newer to the channel, you may not have been around whenever we had a really bad eye infection. We ended up having to wear an eye patch for, in reality, it was probably only about 4 videos, but it became a channel or community favorite. That's why we have the pirate patch emoji on the channel. That's why it became like a favorite thing to have. And so with a deck list that literally pillages and plunders, it steals their stuff, it destroys their stuff, I felt like it was only right to go for a similar look this time around. So now I'm a little bit hesitant here. So yes, we do want to like drop our Cable, we want to drop our Mantis, but at the same time with Mindscape, we're going to switch hands on turn 6. So if we mill all of their stuff, we're just going to give it right back to them on 6, and we don't really want to do that. So we drop Cable, they drop a card, we steal their Green Goblin, which isn't terrible. That's not a bad pull. They morph into Mystique, which is the worst possible card from our hand that they could have morphed into. So, for them, not for us. So we're going to do Wong. Next turn, we will do a Moon Knight and a Yondu. That's going to leave our hand empty. It's probably going to leave their hand relatively empty. It's going to leave their hand and their deck relatively empty. So they're going to have 1 card pool to potentially use. It's just so beautiful. Oh boy. And then they use the Devil Dino. So right now it's 10 power, right? It is not going to be 10 power come the end of this turn. So we have our Moon Knight, who's going to discard cards from our hand and cause them to discard cards. And so they will have 4 cards left that are going to get sent our way anyways. Yondu is going to destroy the last 2 cards in their deck list. If this works, how? Why? Why does this work? So we're going to go ahead and lock this in. I think we're going to send them nothing in return. They're going to end up with 1 card in hand once we swap. And so that 1 card, if it's a Mystique, is kind of beautiful, actually. No, it's a Green Goblin. So they're going to have a Green Goblin that they can send our way. We destroy their Taskmaster. We destroy their Mr. Negative. So their whole deck is gone. And then we have 2 cards left. They have a Ronin, but that's going to be low power as well. What? What is this nonsense? Oh, and then we can extend the game with Magic. We got a Magic from them. So your cards be mine. Oh, come for the deck builds, stay for the pirate memes. All right, let's go ahead and jump into another one. I don't know how this deck list is gonna work. I thought it was gonna be awful, but if it works out, that's beautiful. Oh my gosh, guys, he is back. Oh man, and then we switched hand cards with District X. I was wanting to have a really cool game against him again. So this user is the user that I will not read his name, but he is the one that we were playing against when we got the really random Viper into the Hobgoblin resend shenanigans. He is the one that we were playing at that point in time. And so I was hoping for something cool again, but it doesn't look like we're going to. We draw into Thanos, but we of course don't have the Infinity Stones, which without a deck built around them would just clog up your deck and wouldn't feel great overall, but still. We're going to go ahead and drop our Yondu and our Colossus. Quinjet is actually huge in this District X game for us because it reduces the cost of pretty much all of our cards by 1. And so then we can drop more power onto the board than they can. So with Lemuria, no cards are going to be revealed this turn. We don't have anything that we can play anyways. Next turn, we're going to be able to do an 8-power Abomination, which is not terrible. We can do an 8-power Abomination. We can drop Onslaught into District X to multiply the Quinjet's ongoing ability. So then every card is going to be discounted by 2 instead of by 1. Is that the best use of Onslaught? Probably not, but oh no. Killmonger, you betrayed us. Oh, and they had a Thor that was generated by District X. Killmonger was in their deck to start out with, but so we could drop Magic here. I don't think we want to extend the game though. I think instead we're gonna work to push Fisk Tower over the top. Next turn we can drop Thanos, which will extend our lead in. Ooh, and so they have a 6-point play. But if they don't follow this up, then it's not able to move. It's not able to move anywhere. So I think we drop our 8-power Thanos into District X, which will give us the win. As it stands currently, if they play, let's say, into Lemuria, Captain Marvel's not able to leave this lane without causing this lane to be a loss. And so it's not going to be as versatile as you would want in a typical Captain Marvel. And so I say we lock in the Thanos. We go with the Thanos snap and see how committed they are. We turned him into dust, guys. Guys, it's taken forever for this guy to join. Did you see it counted down to 5? I blame the lag. Ooh. Good potential game. Let's snap. So do you guys see what I see? We have our Psylocke that's going to allow us to drop Wong on 3. On 4, we can drop Mystique, and maybe we'll draw into a Yondu or a Mantis. Maybe we'll draw into something good like that, which is going to enable us to then have plenty of turn or plenty of time to do the rest of our discards, the rest of our mills. So we're going to have most of their deck burnt through pretty quickly. So Murder World is this location, nothing terribly out of the ordinary. We are going to drop our Wong. We're going to drop it into Fisk Tower just in case they want to do some kind of movement style card. And they do Bucky Barnes into Murder World, anticipating or wanting him to be destroyed. So we can follow up last turn with a Mystique here. We can also do a Quinjet. And so next turn we'll drop our Cable. I think no matter what we get, next turn we'll do Cable. I think that's going to be better than the Black Bolt here, maybe. We'll see what they drop and then we'll discuss it. So in the Murder World lane, what do they drop? In the Murder World lane, they drop a Devil Dino. Okay. Pretty high power, pretty good card impact. So now we have Yondu, which can destroy all of their cards. We get them to discard 4 cards here. It's so stupid. Oh, okay, so they're gonna discard 5 cards with Black Bolt. I think that's gonna be more beneficial. We'll be able to do like a Cable or a Yondu next turn to get what's left from their deck, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm back and forth. I don't know. Actually, if we mill it now, that's going to get absolutely everything that's left in their deck. So they're not going to be able to draw anything new. And then we'll be able to capitalize with a Black Bolt next turn to kind of surprise them and steal the rest of their junk. So we're going to drop our Yondu into Limbo because we don't need it. Cable is going to steal 4 of their cards here. And then they drop 4 cards. So all they have left is 4 cards. They had a Mr. Negative in a Deadpool deck. What kind of crazy deck are you running, friend? And then they eat their guys. So we did. Guys, I think I may be in love with Mystique. That was so much fun. Let's do it again. Next up, we have the goodest of boys, Tom. And we start with Quinjet in our hand again. We also have Wong, so if we can draw into Psylocke next turn, not very likely, but if it happens, beautiful, beautiful, right? Okay, so no. Do we drop Mantis or no? I think that's a no. I don't know reliably where they were going to play cards, and so it's not something that we could guarantee we were going to hit. So then Monster Island comes in. Ooh, and we do have the Mystique now. Nice. So I would play Mantis here because I think they're going to follow up with the Bucky Barnes with like a Nova Carnage. But I don't want to play Mantis into the Embassy because I want to leave it free for... Actually, no, we won't have enough turns, right? But at the same time, if we wait, we can get more cards out of it. We're going to wait. And so then they do a Squirrel Girl. So they may be doing like a Death Wave, which we can potentially use to our favor. They're going to start destroying some cards. If we can steal, like, I don't know, their death, then just GG easy. We'll laugh all the way to the bank. But... if not, and it looks like they have it, then we may be out of luck. So they do a Jubilee pull here, which is weird for and then it pulls into a Carnage. But in Wakanda, nothing can be destroyed. Ooh, that's kind of unfortunate for them. It's also unfortunate for our Gambit play. So now with the Mystique, we will copy Wong, and then we could either do a double ramp, or we can gamble a little bit here. They have 3 cards left. If they play a card into Wakandan Embassy this turn, we will steal all 3 of the remaining cards. We won't draw a card ourselves, but we'll steal the last 3 cards they have in their deck. Let's go ahead and do that. Oof. So we get the upside. They hit a Yondu, which destroys our Chavez. Not a big deal. We're not going to draw next turn. Ooh, and then they go ahead and drop a Shang-Chi to clear out Monster Island, which is pretty nice most of the time. But we are going to steal their last 3 cards, each of which are going to be discounted to us. So we get to know what they have in their hand. Do we pull the Death here? No. So they do have Death in hand. Oh, guys, this is getting out of hand. So we can do Magic here. That will allow us to next turn drop a Gambit, which will then be able to destroy any of the cards on the board. It's not a huge power push, but I think I like it. So I anticipate it's an Odin here, really? To fill up the rest of your board? Sir, good sir. Well, now we have a free glimpse into if we can win next turn. Long story short, I think we can. A 7 power play here would put us at 15, right? My math's right. So 8 and 8 would be 16, so add 7 to that is 15. So we can win this lane. All we have to do is put any power into the left lane as possible. So we don't need to worry about discarding or destroying because they re-triggered their Squirrel Girl. Oh my gosh, Tom, I'm sorry you had to bear witness to that. The Wong Mystique troll type cards are just phenomenal. When you draw into that play line, it's so fun. So next up we have Owen Lee, and Owen Lee always puts up one hell of a match. It's always a really close game, so I anticipate this being a pretty good matchup. We're going to play our Psylocke into Monster Metropolis here. We want to be able to play our cards naturally into Fisk Tower, just in case they have any like move style cards. We don't want them to be able to pull our Wong and end up destroying it. So then we do have Quinjet, we have Moon Knight, both of which feel pretty bad in this scenario. We're just going to play Quinjet, and we're going to eat the remaining 3 energy, so the ramp didn't really do us much good because we didn't draw into our Wong like we would have wanted, which isn't going to happen most games. That's more of a really high roll. When it happens, it happens. And so I think, do we worry about destroying cards, making them discard cards just yet? Or do we hold, knowing that we can extend the game next turn? I'm just going to do the Mantis. I anticipate that they drop a resource into Muir Island. So we do end up pulling, we pull their Iron Man. And then they do have a Mr. Negative deck. So any other cards that we end up pulling or making them discard are going to be much more impactful here. Is that how we want to play it? We can make them discard their lowest cost card, which typically it's not great. But if they happen to pull into an inversed card and they don't want to drop it, maybe it's like an Arnim Zola, and they hold it, we can then force them to drop it with our Black Bolt. And so let's see what we get. They're Ronin. So either they have really high cost cards. If only Lady Thor would have went off prior to our Black Bolt triggering, that would have been phenomenal. But we did make them discard Ronin here. Still no sign of, okay. So still no sign of our Wong, but with us pulling their Iron Man and with it being reduced by 1 cost with Quinjet, On turn 7, we'll be able to do something sneaky like an Iron Man and a Quinjet to try to capitalize our upside here. Is it going to work? I don't know. Is it worth a shot? Absolutely. So they drop a couple of cards, a couple of resources in. Oh, and so we make them destroy their Sunspot, which wasn't huge for them. They do duplicate their Lady Thor, and it doesn't pull anything out because all of their 0-cost cards are in their hand. And so then they use a Mystique, and that was a mistake because they thought that was the last turn. We are now going to do our Iron Man, which should easily win us this lane. What we have to worry about is Limbo. But maybe they play cards here. What I'm worried about is an inversed White Tiger pushing power here. If this was inversed, we would absolutely win. But we hit it just before it got inversed. So we're going to go ahead and let it play out. I think they drop resources here. And so this is going to be 12 power. If they have an inversed White Tiger, then they do end up winning. But we're going to give it a shot anyways. They do the Devil Dino into Fisk Tower. They do Lockjaw, which they end up winning Limbo by 1. Super unfortunate. Very close game only. Very close game. And we didn't get any of our like really good like mill and destroy type cards. If we had and they had it inversed, we would have a huge upside. But we still almost managed to squeak it out with pulling their Iron Man and our Mystique being able to copy that strong Iron Man ongoing. Just so very close. As we're loading into the next match, we were going up against DT Rush. But I did want to welcome 2 new channel members into our channel. They are Alexander Burkott and Miguel Lee. And then also Schmitty is the second member to renew their subscription into the second month. So thank you, Schmitty. Thank you, Alexander. Thank you, Miguel. They now all have access to the special badges next to their name, the special emojis, which are kind of fitting for this deck list because we do have a pirate patch emoji because it was so defining for the channel at the time. And so welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for helping support me and helping support our content. And so here we do have the Psylocke that we pulled into. We're going to be able to drop Wong on 3, which is going to be big. If we can get lucky and top deck into our Mystique, that's going to be even bigger. That is our main goal. If we don't, then maybe we start destroying some of their cards, depending on what we draw into. Ooh, so Sinister London. Do we do something weird like that? Oh no, we don't want to do that quite yet. So if we did that, since Miniaturized Lab is locked down until turn 6, the only place that our cards can go from Sinister London is into Stark Tower. If we did the Quinjet, that would then fill up this lane. We'd only have one more spot to play. And we want to be able to drop our Black Bolt next time for a double trigger there as well. And this is going to get somewhere in the realm of, what, 4 to 6 cards, depending on where the opponent drops resources. Oh, and so they drop it into Stark Tower. So that's actually going to let our Mantis trigger twice instead of just once. Very interesting. And then Yondu is going to destroy some of their cards. A White Tiger. It looks like this is a Mr. Negative deck. Then we'd also destroy a Wolfsbane. They have one. Oh, and Mystique. They have no cards left. DT Rush, I believe that is a GG. I believe that is a GG if I have ever seen one. My gosh, they hit Mr. Negative, but they didn't have any cards left in their deck when they hit it on turn 4 because we had stolen all of them. So we're going to go ahead and do a double Black Bolt, which is going to discard 3 of their remaining 5 cards. We're not going to go ahead and snap because we do want to see this play out. And then next turn, we're going to be able to do a double Devil Dino, which is going to be big as well. So we do the Black Bolt, discards their Ironheart, and then it discards their Jubilee and their Lady Thor. And so they drop an Iron Man, but they only have 1 card to help pick it up. And so, I mean, if it's a large card, potentially, it could potentially be good. But I think what we're going to do is we drop our magic this turn. That's going to allow us time to assess. And then we can drop our Devil Dino because their Iron Man is a little bit scary, right? We don't know what big power push they're going to have. We're going to drop our magic. That's going to give us an additional turn. They're going to drop their one and only, the last resource that they have to their name. They would drop here and here. And as long as we could win in Sinister London, then it would be fine because they're not going to be able to win Miniaturized Lab without the Iron Man. But just overall, so beautiful. The Mystique is a like super high roll card where whenever you get the Wong Mystique combo, it's almost unstoppable. If you get the ramp into Wong, that's also phenomenal. especially if you get the ramp into Wong and Sinister London. Huge gameplay potential. I'm so glad that we got to find a deck list that Black Bolt fit into fairly well. Now, this is not a deck that is going to perform every single turn. You're not always going to get lucky with your Wong ramps or your Wong discards, but a lot of times you're going to get a pretty good draw, and you can do some pretty cool things with your Mystique, with your Devil Dino, with your Cable, your Quinjet. Overall, such a satisfying way to welcome Mystique into our collection. She has so many decks that she's going to be able to help propel and make stronger, but this one feels so much fun to play. I am so excited for all of the other deck archetypes. But I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and a comment down below. This has been TLSG. Later, guys.